Morning, everyone. Welcome to 21st Century Philippines at World Literature. We are now at our ninth week, and for this week, our topic is we're reading Cordillera Administrative Region. So we'll talk about all the beliefs and traditions of Cordilleran people. We will also enumerate practices of Cordilleran that is still being practiced nowadays, and also I will be able to, or I will show you some video that shows that, or shows the uniqueness of Cordillera beliefs, traditions, cultures, and practices. So let's proceed to our discussion for this one. Cordillera beliefs and traditions. So literally the map of Cordillera Administrative Region. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 provinces, and each provinces has its own capital. For Mount Province, we have Bontoc. For Apaya, we have Cabugao. For Ifugao, we have Lagawe. Abra is Bangged, and Benguet, La Trinidad, and Kalinga is Tabuk. So for this one, for many in the lowlands, the mountain people are generically referred to as Igorot from the word Igolot, meaning from the mountains. A pejorative term from the colonized past, Igorot has become accepted as a collective catchword that groups together the Cordillera cultures, such as the Bundok, Gadang, Ibaloy, Ifugao, Ilongot, Isneg, Kalinga, Kankanaing, Ikalahan, Iwak, and Tinggian. So although separate cultures, some groups share deities and rituals with overlaps and intermingling at their cultural fringes. Of the colonizers, the Americans were better accepted than the Spaniards, gaining deeper inroads and effective greater influences and more lasting changes, particularly in education. Although their healing beliefs are steeped in rituals and deities in general, the tribes accessed Western medicine earlier than the Tagalog and Visayan cultures. English, as a second language, has survived the assault by nationalistic fervor. The healers, collectively referred to by the acculturated as shamans, are distinct by culture and rituals. Although modernization, Christianity, and education have gained inroads and affected changes in Cordillera traditions and cultures. A system of religious beliefs and rituals with a profession of deities and spirits continue to affect many facets of their day-to-day lives. Unlike the lowlands, medicinal herbs do not figure heavily in their healing modalities. In contrast, rituals and the use of sacrificial animals are dominant in the culture of their healing and beliefs. So let's go on and discuss Bontocs. So the Bontocs comprise the inhabitants of the central and eastern mountain province. They believe in a supreme deity called Intuntungko or Intuntungso, the one above, also referred to as Kafunyan. So for this one, another basically another deity is Lumawig, and Lumawig is Kafunyan's son, who became earthbound to the people to teach the arts and skills for survival. There is also the belief in the existence of spirits, such as spirits or anitos of the dead, who have to be constantly pleased lest they induce misfortunes and diseases as well. Intermediation is usually done by the insupok, a seer or medium who can counter the afflictions caused by evil spirits. Though a ritual of prayers, kapya, and animal sacrifices, a plate of rice topped with a chicken leg or breast offered to the spirits. So also see they have circumcision as well, and the Pontok's life from birth to death is punctuated with rituals or mangmang, with the sacrificial butchering of animals. And mangmang is a ritual counterpart of the banquet kanao, and it is used to appeal to the anito for a sick person, mga swak, accompanied by a feast of chicken and pig meats. So basically, for this one, it is a smaller version. There is a smaller version, and it is called a man manok, serving only chicken and salted meats. And it is referred to as cow s when accompanied by gong playing. So we could see the in the picture, these bontoks have gongs, and they also believe in rituals or ritual of prayers, and also rituals for a sick person, and also a feast in or alay. So and then there's gong playing for this one. So we also have Ibaloy. So for Ibaloy, although the most modernized and acculturated of the ethno-linguistic groups in northern Luzon, deities and rituals persist. So there is no god worship of statues and carvings. The indigenous god is Kavunian or Kabunyan. The Christian god is Shivus, is considered the supreme being higher than Kavunian. There is also a belief in the spirits of ancestors called Amet. And the culture is rife with Anitos. Anitos are basically nature spirits and ancestral spirits and rituals. The Anitos dwells in mountains, rivers, trees, and rocks. And when their abodes are disturbed or destroyed, they can cause illness and misfortune, for which rituals and offerings of appeasement are performed. So basically, for the Ibalois, they also have ancestral spirits called Kaapuan, and it appear in dreams. Or make their wishes known by causing illness. Nature spirits are varied. The Amdag, or the wind born with nests to ensnare souls. The Ampasit, cave dwellers who misled night travelers. In Mungao, cave dwellers that cause illness or injury to intruders. The Pinadeng, who rule the wild pigs and fowl of the forest, offered sacrifices by the hunters. Butat Teo, who is guide travelers, the Banik, spirits of the dying or recently deported, who cause perils to the crossing travelers. So the culture is rife with rites and rituals. Deities are often invoked for health and illness in rituals that usually involve the sacrifice of animals and the drinking of tafei. Tafei is a native rice beer fermented from the red rice variety. In the background of prayer chanting by the bamboo no of the so we have here some pictures from of the Ibaloys. We have their sacrifice offers sacrifice of animals and the drinking of the faith. And then there's a Mambunong who who is doing the chanting and the praying as well. So these are the rituals specifically related to the illness. We have here Ampasit. Ampasit is for sore eyes and sore feet with a sacrificial chicken offered to the Ampasit, Pinadeng, and Tinmungaw. Dosad for chest pains, the Mambunong hold his spear against the chest of a pig and prays. After the pig is butchered and cooked, the Mambunong repeats the prayer while holding the spear against the chest of the sick person. Sikop or sigop is a ritual for curing coughs, sun sacrificial animal or tafe, utilizing instead salt and ginger that is rubbed on the patient's neck while praying. Kolos for stomach pains and diarrhea, offer to the water god Kolos with a pig or chicken and tafe. CBC to cure wounds performed without sacrificial animals, with the Mambunong praying while placing the instrument or a substitute over the wounds. Basal alang performed after childbirth to prevent excessive bleeding and skin diseases. Tomo is a ritual to cure an insane person. A sacrificial dog is offered to departed ancestors believed to have caused the insanity. Topya is to counteract a curse or cure an illness or physical deformity caused by witchcraft, padja, with sacrificial offerings of dogs, chickens, ducks, or goat. And kanaw or kanyaw, familiar to the lowland culture as a community celebration of the Igorots, is a ritual of animal sacrifice, feasting and dancing performed for healing, thanksgiving, entertainment, and for asking for a bountiful harvest. It is a ritual common to the Ibaloys, Kankanaes, and Kalangkuwayas. And last ritual is the Ikalahans. And Ikalahan is derived from the word Kalahan. Kalahan is a type of forestry growing in the Caraballo mountain. The traditional celebration is the Keleng. Keleng is a semi-religious feast and ritual that may be used to appease the gods, deities, and ancestral spirits for healing the illness. The ritual is led by the Mabaki with prayers and chants before the sacrificial pig is killed and again before the serving of the cooked meat. During the sacrificial butchering, the pig's liver is taken to the Mabaki for inspection, and if the organ looks ill, he may request another pig to be sacrificed. Two other celebrations, the Laga, and Laga is the smallest form of celebration, and another celebration is the Padit. Padit is usually the prestige feast, most extravagant and expensive. And these two celebrations are also rituals of appeasement. Next we have is Ifugaos, and Ifugaos nestled in the heart of the Cordillera. Ifugao is the country's smallest province but with a complicated belief of the universe and system deities. Their flat universe is composed of 6 worlds only: Kabunyan or sky world, Pugao earth world, Dalong underworld, Lagoon eastern world, Daya western world, and Kadungayan or the spiritual world. Religion is polytheistic, with nature and ancestors worship. They do not acknowledge a supreme deity but consider Maknongan as the chief god and creator of all things. There are many gods and deities. Matulungan is the gods or goddess of plenty. Manahot, Manahaot is the god of sorcery and deception. Bulul is the god of idols. And Bibiu is the fairy gods that dwells in trees and rocks. And many other minor gods that can cause illness as well. For the Ifugaos, their religious beliefs are expressed in a system of ritual called Baki, same as from the Baloy, and presided over by the native priest Mumbaki. The rituals involve the sacrificial offerings of pigs, dogs, carabaos, and the accompaniment of singing, dancing, drinking, and meat recitations. So, among the Ifugaos, illness is believed to be caused by ancestral spirits and nature spirits residing in trees, stones, and rivers. And basically, the healing rituals are chosen according to who is believed to be causing the illness. So, we have here Kitama. Kitama is a divination ritual performed for illnesses caused by ancestral spirits using a deity possessed medium through which the spirit expresses his grievances and demands. We also have Ayag, and Ayag is the ritual for illnesses caused by vengeful spirits, evil spirits, basically. And sacrificial chickens and pigs are offered for the appeasement of deities and spirits. If the patient's condition does not improve, a more elaborate one, if affordable, is performed. Sometimes the Mumbaki is asked to call upon all the deities to help bring back the patient to health. So these are some of the rituals, healing rituals that are chosen according to who is believed to be causing the illness for the Ifugaos. The next one we have is the Isneg, and for the Isneg, Isnegs are animistic, although they have no supreme being as well. The system of beliefs is rife with spirits of human and animal forms, dwelling freely or in nature habitats of rivers, stones, and trees. Illnesses and diseases are attributed to disrespectful intrusions into deities' domains. As protection, ceremonial appeasements are common, as is the wearing of protected amulets or tani. The shaman features heavily in the ceremonies. The Anituan, always a woman, presides over these next rituals, and she chooses to dispense amulets, diagnoses illnesses, uses various herbs in her concoctions of treatments. So these are basically for the snakes. The next one is the Kalingas, and the Kalinga is a recent province that came out of the 1995 separation of the Kalinga Apayao. Kabunian is the supreme being. Their deity beliefs are typed into three. We have here the nature spirits or Binaing and Aran. Also dead ancestors and relatives Karading and Anang. And mythological heroes. So for the Kalingas, illness and death are attributed to malevolent anitos and vengeful spirits. For a prolonged illness, a medium is called to assess the liver of the sacrificial animal. The preceding night, for appeasement of the spirits, the men gather in merrymaking, dancing the salisi, and playing the tunggatong. Before the healing rite, the work is performed by the medium. The house is decorated with ferns in its four corners. Animals are butchered for sacrifice. If the healing is not successful, a herbalist or nabbed Tadagop is called with his preparation of plants that is administered to the patient. If that is imminent, the ritual of Song Nga is performed. Song Nga is a death ceremony without the accompaniment of mermaking, and basically the medium pouring the blood of the sacrificial animal on the dying patient as well is performed. So we also have the northern Kankanais, and this group consists of inhabitants of the Sagada and Besau municipalities. There is also a belief in the superior deity Kabunian, and the religious consists of worship of ancestors and nature spirits. The Anitos, basically, or the spirits or souls of the dead, dwell in the village, rocks, and caves, while the nature spirits dwell in the mountains, rocks, trees, and rivers. Illness and death are attributed to the more evil nature spirits, and the ancestral spirits are benevolent and invoked upon for good health. However, a family illness may be taken as a sign that the ancestral spirit is hungry, for which a sacrifice of animals is done to share with the ancestral spirits. For the northern Kankanaes, rituals of healing involves sacrificial offerings of food, usually salted pork and chicken, and occasionally dogs and carabaos. There are no priests or mediums that officiate the rituals. Instead, a village elder is entrusted with the prayers and inspection and interpretation of the bile sap or liver, and the rituals are always performed in complete silence, lest they become ineffective. So these are for the northern Kankanaes. And for the northern Kankanaes, sa Gausao, it is a cleansing ceremony, and it is performed when one becomes insane or baliw. Leg, another cleansing ceremony, and it is performed for intractable or incurable skin diseases and boils done by the river utilizing a white chicken for that white that symbolizes cleanliness. Also, Bakin is we have another feast, and it is called Bakin. Bakin is a sacrificial feast, and it is performed when an old man is taken ill. Three pigs and two chickens are slaughtered. There is prayer chanting, and prayer chanting is called aying. The aying is asking the gods to heal the patient. 2 days later, lapsag, which involves another butchering of two pigs and one chicken, is performed and the meat shared with the people. Another bucket follows, and for this one, 3 pigs and 2 chickens again for the distribution to the people. When the patient dies, another pig is slaughtered that will accompany the bayao or the farewell song. Then, after that, another pig for the mga magapo and another for a nightfall offering gawa. After a month, a pig is slaughtered again. In 2 months, another bakid, 3 pigs and 2 chickens. After a year, a lapsang, 2 pigs and 2 chickens. The ritual ends with kinawang, or the butchering of 3 pigs divided amongst the people. So basically for this northern Cancanais, the rituals can force a family into the sale of material possessions. Even destitution and more accumulated families have shied away from the practice because I think it is very expensive to do this sacrificial phase, because there is a lot of sacrificial offering being made or being performed. Now, next is the southern Cancanais, and they are found in the municipalities of Tadian, Bauco, and Sabangan in the Mountain Province, and Bakun, Kibungan, and Mankayan in Benguet. Basically, for the southern Cancanais, there is no worship of idols, icons, and sacred places. When found, they are purely decorative. The religion is based on belief in deities and spirits. The highest in the deity hierarchy is Adikaila of the sky world and the creator of all things. Next are the Kabunyan, and Kabunyan is the collective of gods and goddesses who include Lumawig and Kabigat, who taught religion and rituals to the people. The southern Kankanais also believe in ancestral spirits such as the Apapo and Kakading and earth spirits Anitos. So for the southern Kankanais, the rituals are presided over by 3 native priests, the Mansipok, Manbunong, and Mankotong. They believe to be empowered by Adikaila for counseling, healing, interpreting signs, and performing rituals. So Mansip Ok, the seer or diviner, is consulted for illness diagnosis and the choosing of the appropriate healing ritual. Diagnosis is achieved through Bakneo. Bakneo is the breaking of a chicken egg, alternatively blood from a sacrificial chicken, onto a gabi or banana leaf, and after a prayer interprets the egg for signs and suggestions for cure. Sipok, another method, utilizes a flint on a string that would become heavy at the mentioned words that might suggest the diagnosis. And then the Mambuno is a religious functionary called upon after the diagnosis made by a Mansipok suggests that an ancestral spirit has been offended. The Mambuno communicates with the spirit to lift the illness from the patient. Mangkoto or Manchiba also performs the rituals of Mansipok and Mampu Ungong. Manpuntong or Manchiba also performs the rituals of Mansipok and Mampu. He interprets omens and signs, and in sacrificial hearing ceremonies, reads the blood and liver. So these rituals are from the southern Concolanes. Next that we will discuss is the Tingunians or Itnegs. And of the Spanish origin, Penguin or different version referred to all the mountain dwellers in the Philippines. Possibly it was derived from the Malay word tingi, meaning mountain or upland. Later it became exclusive reference to the inhabitants of Abra and Ilocos Sur and Ilocos Norte Mountains. Many choose to refer themselves as Itnegs, probably a name derived from an early Tinguan settlement in Abra. A religious people, they believe in numerous supernatural beings such as the spirits and anitos inhabiting their land endowed with powers to guide and protect and guide the Tinguans' lives, who therefore are involved in the religious offerings and rituals. The Tinguian's great god is Kadaklan, and he is believed to be the ruler of the supernatural world. Another deity is Kabunyan, and he is believed to be the friend and teacher to the people, teaching prayer, the curing of illnesses, and protection from evil spirits. And there are more than 150 other named spirits. Also, Seldai is a malevolent spirit who may induce illness if deprived of blood offering from a small pig. So, from your handouts or your PDF files, you may refer, you will see we have a representative literary text or a prose from the Tingans, and it is called the Great Flood. So the Tingans are also known as Itnek or Itineg, Tinguian, Tinguinea, Itnek, Mandaya, and Tingian. And these people live near the Tineg River in the provinces of Abra, Ilocos Sur, and Iloilo, with concentrations in the municipalities of Tubo, Manabo, Salapadan, San Quintin, Luba, and Poline. They speak Ilocano and differ from other Philippine groups in their taste for dressing in white. The women are also known for their extensive and heavily better lower arm ornaments as well. So you may read the representative literary text, The Great Floods by the Tingans. So for this lesson, we have some references. We have Benguet Has It All from Baguio Midland Courier, written by Mary L. Fernandez. We also have Bontok Lifeways, a study in education and culture, written by Kate Colipas Putengan. We also have ethnography of the major linguistic groups in Cordillera from Cordillera School Groups Incorporated, and 21st century literature from the Philippines at World, written by Marikitara Uichoko from Rex Bookstore, M. Recto Avenue, Manila. And also Literatura 21st Century Philippine and World Literatures from Mindshapers Co. Recollectos, Street, Manila, written by Jaime G. Ang. So, for this week 9, I will require you to answer activity 1. So for activity 1, below are the links that shows Cordilleran people's practices, traditions, and beliefs. So watch the said videos. After watching, gather photos and videos to wrap together that shows how proud you are as a Cordilleran and what Cordillera Administrative Region can offer that other places don't have. So for this, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 video links, and you may only choose one. Choose one, and then If you have chosen already, then watch the video and then the photos and gather photos and make a video commercial out of it and then explain as well. So for this activity, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask me. You may reach me personally at Facebook Messenger. You may also directly ask me at school. So if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. For this week, we had identified the beliefs and traditions of Cordilleran people, and we have to also enumerate practices of Cordilleran that is still being practiced nowadays. So thank you once again. If you don't have any questions, I would like to end the lesson saying thank you and share Bible verse from the book of Mark, chapter 9, verse 23. Said Jesus, everything is possible for one who will believe. So thank you once again, everyone, and God bless.